these World War II epics, has produced the Mamma Mia films, Charlie Wilson's War, A Man Called Otto, The Polar Express, That Thing You Do, Philadelphia, and many others. Gary had a top team around him, and joining us is Jack Fitzgerald, the director of photography whose work includes True Detective, and Blake Neely, whose work as a composer and conductor, keep rolling, includes Greyhound, The Bourne Legacy, and Michael Clayton, and Jack Whitaker, the supervising sound editor, whose work includes Pirates of the Caribbean's Dead Men Tell No Tales, Shang-Chi, and Coco. Please welcome our panelists. Thank you all for coming. I went to this boot camp because in the first film, he was the only actor who when he went up in one of those jets, tried to say his line, and they all vomited. They had to, he did it a different way in Top Gun Maverick to make it possible. But it sounds like what you guys did, and I watched it, and these pilots are flying, and there's bombs coming from below, and there's these fighters trying to take them out of the sky, and it just looks so convincing. But it sounds like it was shot in a much different way. Now, Jack, as our DP, I want to ask you, what would you say, from your vantage point, was the biggest challenge in doing all this, and getting it on screen and making it look realistic?
Yeah, it was a huge challenge, obviously, to have our actors believe that they were flying planes, and therefore get the audience to believe they were really flying the planes. We did it on a volume stage, so we had the advantage of having eye lines working. We had planes streaking past us and explosions happening all around the actors when they were in the plane, and that was extremely helpful for us as creatives around them, and also for them. The authenticity which was needed to make the worldwide audience, CGI is so sophisticated these days, but to see battle work like that felt kind of like new, and what was possible what we could achieve had kind of come into sync.
I have two Jacks up here, which means I have a good hand. So I want to ask my second Jack, who was responsible for the sound that you hear. What about you? What was your biggest challenge when you looked over this whole thing and just creating this magnificent, and it's beautiful. You watch these bombs fall and it's just like, wow. For you, what's the biggest challenge of making it sound right?
Well, for the sound, I would say that the biggest challenge was conveying the authenticity of the time, and also making the thing feel dramatic to the audience on the small screen. And this is a streaming project, so we wanted to make this thing as big as possible for the small screen, and really sell that drama and emotion, and really do justice to the story of these people went through. It's a big undertaking, and we felt a big responsibility for that.
We had an obligation to Stephen's father. He was in the Army Air Force. He'd C-band in the Pacific. I always say to Stephen, yeah, those are great. When are you going to do the pilots? When are you going to do Europe and the flying war up there? And it kind of got in our heads that if we ever did another one, that would be it. And then Don Miller's book came along, Masters of the Air, that made it so. I guess this is kind of our template. We tried every way we could not to do it because they're such bears to tackle in a lot of years of making them. But we caved. And we went straight into COVID while making it, so it was really great timing.
Yeah, we did another panel, and I think you told me that that was about $60 million in COVID costs, because you were right smack in the.
That's true.
That's just that's amazing. Now, if you consider where you were with Band of Brothers and even the Pacific, technology has improved. There's an ability to do a lot more things, maybe more efficiently. What would you say was the biggest thing that you were able to do here that maybe you couldn't back then because it just, you're using the cutting edge of things back then, but they're so much different now?
Well, you kind of said it. The technology rose to the point where we could do the kind of air material that we did in this. And we couldn't have done it during Band of Brothers' time or Pacific, and to the magnitude that we were able to do it now. Stephen Rosenbaum, our visual effects supervisor, was amazing. D-Neck, amazing. We really had great people on that.
Cast out Austin Butler. He was working with Tom on Elvis, and we had only really seen him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Give us a sense of who's already popped and why this is such a great springboard showcase for a young actor and actress.
Well, I mean, hopefully it's because we hire talented actors who probably are going to have the fates they're going to have in our business anyway. Austin had not started filming with Tom yet. They were kind of, remember when Tom and Rita were the poster people for COVID back then, and he was all during that time. And he was in Lucy Bevins', who's our fantastic casting director. If you get a chance to work with Lucy Bevins, she had groupings pretty much for every part, how she saw them. Of course, a lot of jigsaw puzzling went around and identifying the guys. There are 325 speaking parts.
Wow.
But there were like 10 that were really kind of key to who we got and how we did it. We were lucky enough to get Cal Turner, who is brilliant and a brilliant guy. If you have a chance to go to dinner with him, he's amazing. And of course Nate Mann and Anthony Boyle, and yeah, great guys.
Well, you know, and so you mentioned some of these guys, and Nate played Rosie Rosenthal, who flew twice as many missions as he had to, and became a prosecutor at Nuremberg. And Barry Keoghan, and we have Anthony Boyle, who plays this navigator who is battling air sickness in the early part of his run. In there, trying to figure that out. What is the challenge? And
I just need to stop you there because I didn't shoot that scene.
Oh, you did?
But I did shoot the scene where Egan and the boys are getting on the train, and the train carriage is going past, and we see all the hands of the women and children, which makes me want to cry right now. But yeah, because that was to have that image of the ghosts, and we called it the ghost train because it came out of the steam, and we saw, these people who were knowing what their fate was, and knowing that there were these two sides to that moment, and the boys couldn't help in that moment.
You did a brilliant job with that. It was great.
And Gary,